To have you here. Please take your seat. And next, I'd like to call upon the next eminent panelist, Mr. Rajesh Yabaji, the co-founder and CEO at BlackBuck. Hello, sir. It's a pleasure seeing you. Chain Manager and Category Development Manager at ITC Limited. And last but not the least, I take all the pleasure to call upon our next panelist for the session, Mr. Sandeep Varaganti, who previously worked with Cognizant, Amazon, and Prion. Ladies and gentlemen, Hyderabad is becoming one of the largest logistics hubs worldwide and will emerge as a large distribution center in the coming future, opening numerous...
The best we can get to understand what exactly is about logistics as far as we can. I'm sure everyone has tried to solve this in a different way or is trying to solve this in a different way, but we have the best of the folks over here. Again, we did speak about Amitava and in terms of what he has been doing, how he has been doing, but I think Xpressbees has been the fastest growing 3PL logistics and has done successfully well in his previous venture as well with First Price. So first-hand experience in terms of both of the consumer as well as the back-end logistics play. So it'll be very interesting to know your journey from where you started with First Try, and we were talking about this and how you ventured into kind of picking up other avenue in terms of saying that, okay, let me solve the logistics part first. So how has that shaped from how it was to where it is right now and how you see it going forward?
Thanks, Vamshi. Pleasure talking to the audience out here. So when we started First Cry, first couple of years obviously was spent in establishing First Cry, and then quickly realized that logistics is key to the consumer experience. So customers like fast delivery. Delivering diaper first fast is a big challenge because there's a large, you are delivering a 2 kilo packet which costs barely 450 rupees. So if you look at case studies, delivering diaper in e-commerce has been one of the most challenging logistics problems that's ever been listed. So I started the toughest part first, and designing a supply chain which could deliver diaper in a few hours, along with the new essentials for all the essentials for newborn moms. So that was a challenge, and we realized that nobody in the market was equipped to solve for that. That's why we started our own. Very quickly, being an e-commerce entrepreneur, I knew almost all the e-commerce entrepreneurs in the market. They were good friends of mine. So some of them were customers of First Cry. They were amazed at the speed of our delivery, and they said, why can't you do it for us? And that's how Xpressbees started. And today we are the second largest e-commerce delivery company in the country. We have grown pretty fast. We are present geographically everywhere in India except Lakshadweep. So we are there right from Kashmir to Andaman and Arunachal Pradesh to the western continents. And as a group, we also have got into another venture called GlobalBees, which is acquiring a lot of D2C brands. Today we own around 45 brands. So last 11 years, can't complain. Thanks.
So Amitava, and I think just to address on, how is the industry shaped in terms of both the consumer, because everything is dependent on how the consumer, the technology and everything is shaping up, right? So how has it been when you started to where it is today, and how do you see that actually going forward, right? Because there's so much happening pre-pandemic or post-pandemic, if you want to say, but I would just put it that way, ki kahan hai, matlab where are we?
I think it has come a long way. When we started, we used to wonder what is the amount of audience on the internet in First Cry, early days of First Cry. So we figured that probably around there were 25 million audience in internet who were primarily used to do, in those days, Orkut, little bit of Facebook. Facebook had started then. And most of the audience were just chatting. They were not transacting audience. And our target was transacting moms, which was the most difficult part. But what has happened over a period of time is, whatever you call it, Gen Z or something, the people who were probably just socializing audience have become transacting audience. That's number one. Number two, I must thank Reliance for one thing, taking internet to Bharat. You know, internet was a phenomenon. I remember in one of my previous ventures in Brain Visa, we were key partners of Nokia, and you know, we always saw, and there's a Nokia lab that I was privy to, and I was taken a couple of times. The fastest sticker in the mobile penetration was always India. And mobile internet, and especially Reliance dropping the prices, that has changed. And I remember those way back in 2007, 2008, we used to sit in Nokia and Motorola and talk. The day internet gets over phone and there's a convergence, the market is going to change for India. And today, not only it has changed because of the mobile on internet, internet on mobile, it has gone to the hinterlands. People, as I said, order of consumption in India is first you consume sports, then you Bollywood, then you transact. So I think for 4-5 years after prices drop, people have started transacting. And as a logistics company, I can tell you, doesn't matter, we are there in 3,000 towns and cities. So it doesn't matter what's happening in top town, like, you know, sometimes the curve is flat, this and that. The bottom, say 1,500 rounds, they're always on the growth trajectory. Today, when I started logistics, 80% of our deliveries used to happen in top 20 cities. Today, 60% plus of our 1.5 million packets that we deliver every day happens in the bottom 1,500 cities, towns and cities. That's what has changed. And that is growing constantly and will keep growing. You have to just reach them. It's an infrastructure, right? Your internet is one infrastructure, so it is already reached. It is how we were able to tap them with a good delivery service, offering the right product at right price. That's very important. Indian consumer is very value conscious, but they know what is the right value. It is not that you throw cheap stuff, they buy it. It's not the case. A lot of people have made that mistake. You provide right product for the right value, and there's a huge market. Thank you.
Amitava. Rajesh, I think that leads to the question. Again, level and everything is very different, but you choosing that, hey, you know what? Let me identify this problem and saying that let me build a solution for that. I think it'll be helpful to understand why you choose that particular problem. Obviously, everyone wants to say, I want to solve inefficiencies, there's money here, that's what we all start with, right? But first question is there really money? How are you going to make money? But we'll get to that. But why did you choose this space? How did it occur for you, and what are you building for? And I was talking to you about how well the app is designed, and you spoke about, to be able to attract your audience to kind of connect and be able to use the product. What are the things you had to do to kind of come and start in that zone? So I know there's a lot of questions in there, but that will help us kind of track your journey, also understand technology challenges and how you built it.
So we are solving the Indian trucking problem, the trucking network problem, and this is, the tryst with this trucking problem happened with my work ex at ITC. I was passionate about ops, logistics back from college days. Happened to pick up a job with a manufacturing company, ITC Limited, cigarettes, FMCG major in India. And I think that's where we used to every day move like 500 trucks. I used to manage about 6 million square feet of warehousing space and 1,000 workmen. And everything you touch in that space was like broken and had to be organized, right? So the problem was more, I would say, a customer of logistics and not finding anybody to help me out with my problems of cost and reliability led me to start BlackBuck. But what started as a business which was meant to only serve enterprises, so the initial thought process was that, logistics of a lot of companies is inefficient. We'll go out, we'll aggregate all these logistics needs together and then offer it on a platform to build reliability and efficient pricing. So that was how the start was. But today, where we are and what we do today, we do, for the benefit of everyone, we do 4 things. So one is, the overarching theme is for anything and everything for a trucker to help him manage his business or help him grow his earnings. We are committed to that. And as you are aware, in India, 80% of the trucking works with people who own less than 5 trucks. So we are committed to that small truck operator in the country, whom we give him loads. That's, first biggest solution, help him fill his capacities. Second is help him manage his payments on fueling, payments on tolling, payments to drivers, etc. Third thing is helping him manage, his location, which is through telematics. How much fuel does he have? Like, where is the truck right now? Is driver driving the truck properly or not? And fourth is access to financial services. So this is what we do. And so I hope I've answered your question, Vamshi.
Yeah, no, I think so. Like we were discussing, while you started seeing this problem and saying that, hey, let me go solve this problem. A lot of the entrepreneurs always think about this and say, let me go solve. A larger than life kind of opportunity comes into play. So, just for me to even think that, I'll go solve logistics problem. Yeah, just solving the last mile and within the city is different, but saying that, hey, I'll go solve everyone's trucks problems with FTL and partial loads. It's just a complex business. So what actually kind of helped you cut that barrier, right? Because there is just that, and then you go about it.
So basically, as you know, like, trucking is one of the very large industries in India. Like, we have 3 million truck operators who are present in every village in the country, right? So, and obviously we today as BlackBuck take the credit that we are at the forefront of organizing this. But I think there are a lot of, I would say, things which have happened in the last 3 to 4 years, which have helped us, which are not driven by us, neither we take credit for that. Number one, I think again, thanks to Jio, right? That's led to, so when we started the business, India had fleet owners who only 30% of them had smartphones. Today, all 100% of fleet operators have smartphones, number one. And with that, that data access. Number two is fleet operators never trusted online transactions, never trusted online methods to sort of, do their business. Government mandated electronic tolling in the year 2019. That pushed a lot of truckers for the first time to come online and transact. And we've been able to leverage these waves. And personally, the platform, because of these 2 waves, has been able to scale by about 40 times in the last 30 months, right? And now the question obviously about scale is, scale in any problem statement comes when both your demand and supply comes online. And in our case, the biggest challenge was supply, right? So because of these macro events happening, truck operators started seeking solutions online, and we were, as a company, there at the right time, at the right place, solving these problems. And that helped us build a platform where today, almost BlackBuck is a sort of a household app across the country, and 40% of truckers use our app, truckers of India use our app on a monthly basis. So I would say, how did we solve scale? We chose problems which could be solved at an India level in a very easy way, right? Without having multiple steps and operations towards it, number one. And number two, how India is changing, that helped us, gain scale and leverage that. And I would say a lot of it is more to do with, being there and keep trying, which helped us succeed, but not really what we intended to do.
Thank you. And Sandeep, both of them have been thanked to be changing a lot of dynamics here for the industry as such. But your own experience with logistics, working in Amazon and prior to that as well, and now with Reliance, how do you see, where Reliance is coming from? Obviously, not from the digital highway, but the physical highway as such. And how are you looking at this opportunity?
I think to begin with, right, I think what I've observed is largely from a consumer angle. I've been a consumer of the logistics technology and the operations that we've built across the country. There has been evolution across multiple dimensions, 3 dimensions to be precise. Number one, geographical, right? I mean, the depth of coverage because of the internet penetration, because of the consumption has increased. Number two, that's geography. Number two is function or segmentation wise, right? At one point, there used to be logistics used to be known for B2B consignments, for example. Now it's been B2C, and we are seeing a lot of D2C brands which are directly trying to reach customers. So it makes it a functional dimension as well. And third is just the technology, right? From doing interstate to now hyper-local, and now I've seen a lot of companies investing in micro-local, right? Within the setup, how to transport products from one department to the other, for example, right? So it's the evolution has happened in multiple dimensions. Now, I believe so far the last decade for logistics has been all about scaling. The internet penetration, the consumer growth has been unprecedented. So I think the last decade was all about scaling. The next decade is going to be about automation and sustainability. I think these are the 2 key pillars, and we can speak more about that, but I think that's my assessment. The last decade has been all about scaling, trying to meet the demand for logistics, operations-wise and technologically, and the future is going to be all about sustainability and automation to make it more and more efficient.
Thank you. So one of the, I think we have been talking, given that the audience is, interested in knowing what are the opportunities that exist that they can build for, right? So I think would love to understand, Amitava, from your side within Xpressbees basically, because I'm sure we have not solved all the problems, and you would be looking for companies, founders who can actually build solutions which can integrate into the overall supply chain, which can help technologically maybe. So if there are white spaces which you see are currently existing, where you think there is an opportunity for startup founders to kind of come in and build basically, right? Because you know this space very well. So if you say, hey, here's what I'm looking at, I think these are the areas which have not been solved for, and would be great to see people coming up with innovations in that space. I think that's what I would love to hear from all panelists, because I think that's where the audience is going to benefit from.
Okay, I think that was my first. I did not go up the left something. I said, let me go and have a look. So some very interesting companies, people, there's some doing drone deliveries or spraying the field. So I find those applications, small automation solutions. Logistics is a commodity come scale business. Just like any commodity and scale business, you have various challenges. At scale, sometimes getting people with the right skill levels is also a problem. So a very interesting meeting I had was with the CEO of Telangana Skill Development Authority. So in the second floor. So people with the right skills, anything that can be done about skilling people, it's one area. Automation, technology solutions. You are dealing with, there are the challenges keep on changing. For example, we do our own in-house technology. So we developed a technology where, people want to pay part cash and part UPI at the door. 660 rupees, I don't have change. So I'll give you 600 rupees, 60 rupees I'll pay through UPI. So those are the changes we do in tech. I'm just giving some examples. So there are a lot of small problems in logistics, especially around automation side, especially around people skilling side. There are solutions around the truck drivers availability. Me and Rajesh were speaking in the speakers lounge today a couple of hours back. It is a industry which is secular. which is widespread. It has 14% of country's GDP. And there will be, it's not a winner take all. Unlike e-commerce, there will be fewer companies. But in logistics, there will be far higher number of companies. And there are lots of pockets of inefficiencies. And it's a constant optimization game.
So I think, largely, I'm a very big fan of generally evolutionary ideas. Very disruptive things, I think, in many spaces really don't work. In logistics is one area where something very out of the world works, but it takes time, right? So a few things which have also contributed to our success and also is basically paving way for any idea or let's say large number of ideas to become successful, right? I think one is any ecosystem in trucking you take, be it you take the fleet operators, be it you take warehouses, be it you take companies, all of them have started using some system or the other, right? Which means at a fundamental level, basic systems people are using to coordinate the logistics activities are built out. If you take a corporate which is moving goods, has some sort of a TMS system which they are using. If you take a truck operator, he is using a mobile app to do something or the other, right? So the first big change is that most of the innovations which had to in technology had to start with, right? You didn't have any landing platform to sort of start building from. So those are created. Number two is appreciation of technology and what technology can deliver for people from a reliability perspective, from an information power perspective. There is a awareness and there is a seeking of solutions by most of these partners, right? So 2015, when we would go to a truck operator and sell a technology service, he would say that, what are you selling to me? And I'm really not interested. And largely the impression would be that I'm going to lose in this, right? Today, if you go and say that I have a technology solution for you, which I want to sell it to you, you will at least get a hearing, from him. Same for the customers, same for any partners, right? So the second thing, which is in terms of awareness, which has happened. The third area is, if you look at all these partners who are involved in coordination of logistics, fleet operators, drivers, any one of these guys, be it with payments, be it usage of data, be it usage of, various different means, platforms, be it accessing them through, be it a Facebook, etc., they are available over there. We used to run a Facebook campaign back in 2017. We used to never get any installs. We used to never get, any customer for any cost. Today, we've got good 30 to 40% of acquisition which is getting driven by these technology platforms, right? Which means most of these guys are available out there, right? So I think these are the three changes which I would say that if somebody had, started up in 5 years back and tried distribution, tried selling, or tried, explaining value to someone, today has started working and delivering results. So I think it's much more conducive, I would say 10 times more conducive to build companies in logistics today than 5 years back.
So one of the things we always keep talking about and everyone keeps talking about right now is solving for people problem, right? Whether it's the truck drivers or delivery boys, and it's just becoming a very, very challenging problem for everyone, right? It's pretty much across the industry, doesn't matter what you're doing. So specifically when it comes to you, there's so much competition, there's so much money flowing in into so many sectors which you are going after, and so do you see that technology can play a key role, right? Where the dependence to grow can change. Do you see that, and how do you think there's any opportunity for anyone to build in that?
I'll give a bearish view on this first. So I've been discussing about I've been in logistics for the last 12 years. So I think in India, right, technology to make things better quality, more reliable, I think are the places where opportunities and PMFs happen, where people end up paying you. But if you have technology to help save manpower cost, typically, that doesn't yield much results, because, we've been talking about labor inflation since ever. But I think, hardly any warehouses are fully mechanized because labor in India still is cheap, right? So wherever there is unavailability, which is sort of, we look at from a labor shortage perspective, I think, if we pay the right wages, typically I think labor is available. And from a startup perspective, I think people who are enabling quality, people who are enabling reliability of systems and operations using technology is where I think there's high amount of traction and high amount of value being generated. People cost reduction, at least let's say things which we have tried in people cost reduction, haven't yielded much results.
I think I can add a quick point here. You referred to in certain industry, in certain areas, there is dearth of manpower. Logistics is one such area. But what's worked out in India is you may not get people to work full time, but there is a thriving gig economy in India. And to make that work, here we are talking about 50,000, 60,000 delivery partners, right? Delivery partners include individuals on bikes, trucks, I don't know what they're called, the autos, right? The mini trucks, right? So for them to be able to operate across different systems, there is technology that is required, and that technology is very important, and a lot of companies have solved for it, right? Integrating across multiple systems becomes a key point, right? So our startups can think about how to solve this problem. Build layered technologies that integrate with different consumer systems on the front end, and be able to integrate with the logistics players as well as the participants of the gig economy, even if they are individuals. I think that's going to be very key into future.
Sure. Yeah.
Technology is very important. To give you reliability and error-free solution, you need technology. For example, we pick up and deliver 1.5 million parcels every day. So pick up from anywhere, delivering anywhere, crisscross, which bag should it go into, when does it need to come out of the same bag, which boy should deliver it. And it's without technology, it's not possible, because everything needs to be done at speed. So everything is scan-based. That's one in last mile. In warehousing, for example, you operate large warehouses. How do you, when you have operated large warehouses, you have huge amounts of inventory sitting in it. How do you ensure the optimum utilization of inventory? Where do you have some larger warehouses, 5 lakh, 6 lakh square feet, then some smaller ones, few thousand square feet. So how do you ensure that the warehouse inventory levels are optimized? Depends on, we have, for example, auto replenishment systems, which auto corrects itself based on the consumer behavior and the buying pattern. A consumer buys in each packets, each parcels, one oil, one shampoo. But you cannot ship from a warehouse A to warehouse B in eaches, right? You have to ship in caseloads. Then there's batch, expiry, products expire, price change. So, how do you control such large warehousing? So you need technology solutions. Very simple thing also, we currently have e-commerce hubs which are like 2 lakh square feet, 4 lakh square feet, okay? Just pulling equipments or pulling shipments back from one point to other, it tires down manpower. There you have new conveyor solutions, sortation systems, 25 or 30,000 parcels sorted per hour by destination across 1,000 locations. So, I can go on and on and on. You need technology, otherwise it doesn't work.
So I think maybe let's spend a little bit time on Hyderabad and to the networks across the city. I think it's just been incredible, at least for me as a consumer, I would say. Would love to know, I know you guys have large operations here. Would love to know, how has that been shaping up? What are your thoughts on infrastructure? How do you look at Hyderabad as the destination, because it's centrally located, it's well connected to the country. So would love to know what is the kind of structure you have right now, what are you doing here, and how would you look at that going forward, and maybe comment a little bit if you can on any investments that you're doing here.
So I think I can go first. I think to begin with, right? Point, since we are sitting at T-Hub, right across there is IKEA. There's a reason why IKEA decided to launch in Hyderabad first in India, right? Even though there are more populous cities. That's because the population here is known to be early tech adopters, right? So they started their online business, and that gave opportunity for a bunch of dependent industries to thrive, logistics being one. So I think it's Hyderabad as a city, infrastructurally, and because of the tech conscious population, it's an easy destination for starting anything startup, including logistics, right? It's a general point. Number two, I think the talent availability. Like I've worked in a couple of large organizations in India, right? Amazon and then Reliance. And it's heartening to see, and I'm from Hyderabad, Vamshi, like you. So it's heartening to see that the largest teams for both these organizations are based in Hyderabad, specifically in the logistics area. One, the teams which build technology that runs Amazon's transport systems, not just for India, but for global operations, sits out of Hyderabad. Same for Reliance. Like I myself, I'm building a technology and a product team that is building how to manage tech operations for e-commerce out of India, Hyderabad. At the same time, the operations teams, right, the control tower for Amazon is based in Hyderabad. Similarly, because the talent is based here already, when companies are looking to build systems or organizations, the natural pull is towards Hyderabad. Same thing is happening for both established players as well as startups. So I think a couple of reasons why I think Hyderabad will be the destination for everything startup, more so for logistics.
Amitava?
I think I'm here. I'm the one with the least connection with Hyderabad, but I'm in the city after 4 years, and this is the first time I'm in this part of the city, and the infra is amazing. We already have a large presence in hub. We are building another 2.2 lakh square feet hub in Hyderabad. Hyderabad is quite central to, if you look at the Delhi north to south axis, Hyderabad is quite central that way. So we are building a large 2.2 lakh square feet hub with the automated sorting system, the one that I described, 25,000 sorts per hour and all those things. So yes, and one of the problems we are facing is how do we get more people to solve for the availability. Yeah, I think lots of potential. So I would honestly say this visit for me personally was an eye opener.
It's good, I'm sure.
I was saying, first of all, I'm Telugu, so and raised here, so I love Hyderabad. First of all, second thing is that while we continue to be headquartered in Bangalore, we have a 200 people team which is based out of here. And the third thing is that Bangalore, obviously, the network effects of the startup ecosystem started there first, I think. But what Hyderabad is trying to do in terms of infrastructure, in terms of helping startups like scale with office space, be it financial resources, be it facilitation, help. I think I think Hyderabadis are very lucky, and if probably if I have to just think about that, something if today I was a fresh entrepreneur starting off, probably Hyderabad would be one of a very strong choice to start up. So yeah, I think we love Hyderabad.
Thank you so much. And I know I can go on, and logistics is something we can talk about forever, but I'll just open this for a few questions from the audience.
System Limited organization. I'm very happy to have this session. It is so insightful, and thanks for the entire panel. And thanks to Amitava, what you said, it's 14% GDP. And what could be the future?
Actually, we can't hear this clearly, so maybe because of the lot of noise which you have.
Can you hear me?
Maybe repeat the question?
Yeah. Oh, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, and she can help repeat it.
Yeah. So thank you very much. It's a very good insight on logistics. Thanks to Amitava, he has indicated 14% is a contribution towards India's GDP. And what could be the future on logistics side? Because this plays a very important role. I was working for one company called ITW in Hyderabad. So we have built one truck loading system which was almost about 15 feet length. And when we want to do the delivery, we were not aware how to do the shipping actually. By the time we realized TCI those days, they said we don't have a truck, we need to adopt a special truck which takes about one month. So we had to do a lot of planning. So logistics plays a key role while we are doing the order booking, and the quantum of developments with regard to this applications what you are coming out with. Surely it's going to be a good run in coming times. Thanks for the opportunities.
Thank you.
Says that the average cost to deliver a product in India is double that of the average outside India. So there's a huge opportunity for us to reduce that cost itself. So cost efficiency. And how do you do that? I think I spoke about two efficiencies. One is cost efficiency, the other is carbon emission efficiency. Considering our own target, the country's target is to be zero emission by 2070, so we roughly have about 50 years. So investments now is going to help us get there. How do we do that? Cost efficiency is via automation at every point of the life cycle, right? From manufacturing to delivery to a customer, right? At every point, how can you automate more and more? Number two is sustainability. How can you use alternate fuel? How can you use alternate energy to run your manufacturing units, to run your logistics delivery units, from mopeds to trucks? How can you use alternate energy? That's an example. But I think if you ask me, automation and sustainability are going to be the future for logistics. We've scaled and now we have to be efficient. I think that's all. That's what something I can say.
One more point. Lastly, you were asking Mr. Vamshi.
Can be brought out through natural monopolies. Let's say unlocking potential of railways, or maybe building solid air cargo industry. So what are your thoughts on what's happening in this space, right? Especially air cargo, and do you see more players entering this space?
Road transports cost around 3.4 rupees per kilometer. Okay, and the similar one, railways works about 90 paise. Okay, so I think DFC, dedicated freight corridors, and the processes that railways are putting in place. We had a couple of meetings with railway board, including the Minister for Railways. They are definitely making attempts to make changes, but the way people go about putting in the handover and takeover, because in railways you need to go and hand over at a railway station and retrieve. So, and there's a cost from retrieval from the railway station to the warehouse, goods of warehouse. So how we are able to solve the interconnectivity problems, that is going to define in a key way how effective railway becomes. In my opinion, air cargo is always for premium transport. So I think with people talking about right now our trucks do Delhi-Mumbai in 26 hours. Okay? Now, with the new highway that Honorable Minister for Road Transport, Mr. Gadkari, is saying that we should be able to do Delhi-Bombay in 14 hours. Okay? So I think with the speed of road increasing and the speed of rail increasing, I think air is going to be only for premium sector, but definitely there's a room for railways, there's a room for coastal transport. India has a long coastline. Coastal transport is very, very cheap. And how we work on interconnectivity between road, rail, and coastal transport, that's going to define the things.
I think I'll just add, Dilip, it's a great question. I'll not be saying things too different from what Amitava has already said, but I think it's eventually a factor of cost, right? I may be okay to send something via air freight if I'm able to afford it. Right? Look at all the e-commerce companies, around 30 to 40% of shipments happen air. The rest happens road transport. So it's already happening. But I may be able to afford sending, it all depends on volumetric dimensions, right? I may be able to afford to send an iPhone or a high value item air freight because it may end up making high margin, but not a product which costs $600. I prefer taking more time to send it via road, right? It's that the margins don't allow. I'll also tell you two things. Because I work for Amazon, in the United States, Amazon has started doing something called as Prime Air. So they've realized that they are the largest consumers of air freight, and they've started investing in that business. That will happen in India. Whether it will be Amazon, whether it will be Reliance, I don't know. But in India especially, like US is 1/3 India's population. And when India's consumer starts buying more and more, it is not a question of either or anymore. We'll have to use all modes of transportation. It will be a factor of cost efficiency. Railways, I don't think we use as much because I don't know if it is regulatory. It is not as easy to use railway, the network that we have, railway network that we have, because it is not privatized. It is 100% state run. So it may be a little difficult. I'm not complaining, but what's easier, we choose road and a little bit of air freight. But eventually 10 years or 20 years from now, I think the game is going to change. We'll have to use all modes to get products delivered.
So we have one last question from the gentleman here.
Hello, sir. My name is John. Thank you for the great insights. So my question is, how will ONDC will change the delivery space? So I want Amitava to share his views on this.
I'll just repeat the question so that I've understood it correctly. Your question is, how is ONDC changing?
The delivery space, like, everyone is trying to integrate the ONDC scenario. So when it comes to between, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm not able to comprehend what is the question.
Like you know that a lot of vendors are coming to online. The open network is coming. So being an e-commerce segment, the deliveries that will take place, right? Like for each vendor, how are you going to really solve that scenario? Is what I'm looking for.
So are you saying with ONDC, with a lot of vendors coming in, how is Railways going to solve the problem? Is that a question?
No, Xpressbees.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. How is Xpressbees going to solve the problem? So ONDC is still in a nascent stage, but we are integrating with ONDC. So I think what ONDC is going to change is they are going to democratize the merchants and the availability space. Okay. Every small merchants can push their goods. And I think what the role that companies like Xpressbees play is, we can pick up even one shipment from one merchant anywhere in India and deliver to anywhere in India. So that is the role, and the good part is it will come on the common network. But again, one thing is very important, unit economics. Okay, what makes sense for a merchant to sell from anywhere to anywhere, paying a logistics cost, because logistics cost depends on the weight and the distance. Okay? By paying the logistics cost, and will he make enough margins after that? So that is going to be the key. So it's all boils down to ultimately hard economics.
Thank you all, and I know we appreciate you guys being here. It's been wonderful talking to you guys. And I know we have a lot of questions. You can always reach out to them in case you need any advice. But it's been a pleasure to have you guys here, and thank you all.
Thanks, Vamshi.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you all by sharp 3:15 p.m. and the session will go on up to 4:30 p.m. Thank you very much. I request all of you to kindly enjoy your lunch. Thank you.